Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Where the 99 Lead. It's a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville where we discuss many different topics and areas of the University of Pikeville. Academics, athletics, student life. That will be our focus on this edition of Where the 99 Lead, and we're joined by Student Activities Coordinator for Student Housing, Kelly Porter. Welcome to Where the 99 Lead.
Thanks for having me.
Kelly, first time on the show. Let's introduce Kelly Porter to everyone that's tuned in. Tell us about your background.
So, name's Kelly Porter. I'm a recent graduate from the university. Finished the semester before this one. Got hired on during the summer. Was a biology major. Played golf. From Astor, Kentucky. Went to Paul G. Blazer High School.
Very good. And let's talk about that. How did you arrive at UPike from Blazer?
I actually had a really good friend that I went to high school with. We played golf together, and Kevin Otten, the coach, was recruiting him heavily.
Yes.
I was a stroke of chance. Had a good round when he showed up to watch Drew. Drew's dad put in a good word. Ended up snagging us both.
Very good.
It's been uphill ever since.
There you go. And you arrive at UPike. You walk across the stage, as many UPike graduates do, heading different directions in life, but you're one that stayed here and now on the payroll at the University of Pikeville, Student Activities Coordinator. That sounds like a fun job before I know anything about it.
Yeah, it was a pretty recent switch. I was a student life coordinator. I was with housing. I worked in the halls, and this is a space that needed filled.
Sure.
They chose me for it, and I gladly accepted. And basically, student activities coordinator is recreation. You know, I have work studies who supervise certain facilities that, like the lounge and the weight room, run several programs. I get to help people have fun, which is obviously fun in the process.
Yeah. It's not a bad gig.
No.
Tell us what a typical day is like in the life of a student life coordinator.
So, I'm still kind of stuck mid-transition, so I do a little bit of both. My day starts by usually going into the office, check the emails. We have an email address that students know, and most of the issues that they need help with, they go there. So a lot of it is reactive. We problem solve as they come to us. That's most of the day. And then I do some of the student activities coordinator stuff when I get to about mid-afternoon, check on my work studies, make sure that all the facilities are running smoothly. If anything needs taken care of, as things pop up. The end of the day is generally done either planning for future activities from the activity coordinator position or preparing for an event that is that day.
Right.
We usually do 2 or 3 events a week, not counting intramurals, which is generally also 2 or 3 days a week.
Sure.
So, there's plenty of prep to go on.
Providing a lot of activities for students at the University of Pikeville so that they don't spend all of their time with nose in books preparing for finals or what have you. But talk about the lounge. For someone who's not, that's not familiar with the University of Pikeville, talk about the student lounge. What goes on there?
I mean, it's basically the hangout spot. It's smack dab in the middle of campus. It's in the middle from all of your classes and the library and the cafeteria. So it's that central location that people can just kick back.
Sure.
We've got a few big screen TVs. We've got ping pong tables, pool tables, this and that. We've got a well-stocked office that my work studies run where you can check out several pieces of equipment, based on whatever you're wanting to do. There's a arcade in the back. It's got basically everything you'd want, and it's got that aura about it that just makes you feel like you can finally stop stressing for at least a few minutes until you have to go to class.
Yeah. And you mentioned intramurals, and of course you were a student athlete.
Yes, sir.
Before we talk intramurals, let's talk about athletics at the University of Pikeville. Tell us about your time as a student athlete.
Well, I may be biased, but I feel like golf has to be the best college sport.
Yes.
You get to spend your weekend in the most beautiful patches of land that this area has to offer. We travel far and wide. It's been huge, They took good care of me while I golfed. I worked hard for them, and they gave me money for it, paid for my education. You meet a lot of good people while playing. Those connections have been invaluable to me as I've gone through my education and beyond. And it's been it's been nice to have something to challenge myself in other than academics, you know.
Right.
It's hard to get burnt out when you can kind of change gears back and forth pretty frequently.
And I know golf is it's one of those life sports that you can play your entire life, but there's a certain added pressure in being a college golfer.
Yes,
you're
sir.
in competitions. Yeah, you're out on those beautiful patches of God's green earth, beautifully manicured golf courses, some of the prettiest land, wherever you're traveling for a particular tournament and such. And you're participating in a sport that you love, obviously, and pretty good at. But also there's a certain amount of pressure that comes with being a student athlete. Talk about that.
Well, of course. You're on a team, but when it comes down to it score-wise, it's a relatively individual sport.
Sure.
And that's a constant pressure, you know. You're playing for that scholarship that that you want to retain. You've earned it. You want to show that you deserve this and that this spot is here for you and that, you know, you have a purpose here.
Right.
Every round that you have is qualifying against your teammates, this and that, and there's a constant push. And if you're not always hungry, then someone who wants it more will get it. You know?
A lot of competition among team members.
Healthy competition, yes. You know, while I was here, we had pretty consistent improvement. We won the majority of our tournaments my last year, and you know, it's kind of like a tug of war.
Sure.
You've got X person who's been on your level since you were incoming freshman, and then you just see each other pull away as you become more dedicated, as you learn new things, as you grow, you know, mentally. And it's really fun to get to watch that kind of dynamic grow through the year, because you never know what's going to happen with that many people.
While you have pressure in competition with teammates for a spot in that week's tournament, in tournaments against other teams, obviously there's a pressure, but it's a different pressure than classroom pressure, isn't it?
Oh, of course. There's at least with the classroom, I thought you can always be prepared enough. There is, and that's one very valuable lesson that professors here taught me. You can always be prepared. It's a choice.
Sure.
If you come into a class or an exam not prepared, that's your choice. You've been given the material, you know. But golf, I don't know about you, but I never feel prepared.
Right.
You know, the first tee shot's always a little shake in the hands, and yeah, so that's a bit different. But
let's talk about intramurals now. That's competitive college athletics as a student athlete, and obviously you're around sports. You've been a student athlete. Now intramurals,
Yes,
a
sir.
little different on the college level, but they can be very competitive as well. Let's talk about what sports UPike offers intramurally.
okay, so this is I'm gonna have to answer it a little bit differently because this is my first year running it, and it's a fresh program for us. I've got help from some of my, you know, the staff that I work with in student services, and there are several, I'd say, staple sports, basketball, flag football, stuff like that are going to be the big season, you know, like half a semester long sports with a playoff tournament at the end, things like that. You know, you're going to have the longest turnout, consistent, everyone wants it.
Yeah.
Now, when we're not doing those seasons, there's a plethora of options for us to choose from.
Okay.
So since it's a new program for us, I want the students to feel like they have some sort of control.
Right.
So I poll. Whatever most interest is fed to me, that's what I make. So we did, this semester, we had flag football, went the majority. We
Heard it was very competitive.
Med school's tough. We almost got them, but med school's tough.
And faculty was also involved.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yeah, everyone had a good time. We have had a few ping pong tournaments.
Yes.
It sounds like recreation. They take it very seriously.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so there's that. We've done dodgeball and little odds and ends like that. You know, when we're not doing the big seasons, we'll do little day tournaments.
Sure.
Just something, you know, we'll try to place them strategically in the busiest parts of the semester so that people can just get away for an evening or so, you know.
Sure.
Let their mind focus on something else.
How competitive was dodgeball?
Depends who you are.
Ah.
You know, I tend to play in most of the events that I run, and I do most of it for leisure and to gain these connections with the students, which is fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's fun to go out with these guys and try to peg them and end up getting blasted. They're monsters. They are, and they have no mercy.
And you're just talking about the ladies on campus. I've heard that some of the quietest, most genteel girls on campus can become monsters with dodgeball.
Uh, I tried to stack my team. I am not the best at dodgeball.
Yeah.
I'm more coordination than raw power.
Uh-huh.
But we got some softball pitchers that brought some heat.
Beast.
Yeah,
Beast.
yeah.
I don't want anywhere near dodgeball.
I wouldn't try to catch it. But it was a good time. Everyone had fun.
Sure.
I never expect the kind of crowds that turn up.
Right.
You know, like we ended up having to pull the bleachers out. You know, probably 60 or 70 people
Sure.
to watch students throw rubber balls at each other. You know, that's beautiful.
It is.
We have the football, you know, like the playoff tournaments, and almost an entire residence hall of people shows
Sure.
up. It's nice to know that to some people it's more. You know, they get more than just off campus for a night.
Right.
You give them something that they can be proud of later.
It's all about student activities.
Mhm.
And that's part of the college experience.
Yes, sir.
Of course, at the University of Pikeville, flag football, basketball, you've had dodgeball, you've had ping pong. What are some other activities or sports that you anticipate may happen in the spring?
So as far as activities that aren't athletically related, there's large scale ones. It was called Paint You. There was a DJ and a few people that he contracts with came, and they set this big stage up in the gymnasium and set tarp on the hardwood.
Sure.
And they had strobe lights. You know, he was playing like all kinds of crazy loud music people were dancing to, and they had these like squirt guns, you know, and shoot paint out into the crowd. The paint's fluorescent, so as the strobe lights hits it,
Wow.
and you know, you just get. So there's huge events like that.
Uh-huh.
We had actually last week we had a spa come in. You know, they came from, I don't remember where, but it was in Ohio. And they had this big station set up along outside of Chrisman. And, you know, you walk in, go into class, you see these guys, check out what's out. Next thing you know, you've got somebody putting the chemicals in your hand, massaging your hands,
Yeah.
puts the gloves on so they can soften your skin, they're rubbing your neck, they're rubbing your back. You know, they have those big beds. And it's just, you know, it's nice to walk into little surprises like that.
Sure.
And then a lot of the times we do smaller kind of activities that we can do on a more regular scale. We do a thing called Stock Your Room Bingo, which I've never seen young fellows make bingo so serious. But yeah, when it's for room items like toiletries, food, stuff like that.
Right.
You know, things that are going to be about anyways. They're, you know, if you don't have time for a job during college, you know, money may be tight, so it's nice to, and we try to keep it oriented towards what they need, you know. It's fun, but there can be an essence of what they need in that also.
Yeah. Kelly Porter, Student Activities Coordinator for Student Housing at the University of Pikeville, our guest, as we talk about student activities, and these are things that make the college experience a little better. It gives students a way to get a break from classes, from the day-to-day stresses of college life, of the day-to-day stresses of being away from home, of ways to interact with fellow students. Mm-hmm. And of course, the more interaction there is, the more community is built, and the more that UPike students become family, because UPike students, it certainly is a family. Talking intramural sports, what level of experience, if someone's never played basketball before and they want to participate in intramural basketball, do they need to have experience?
We are open to anyone that is basically UPike affiliated.
Yes.
If you work for them, if you go there, if you have gone there, you know, we're open to any skill level. Any person that has any interest at all, we want them to feel welcome.
Sure.
That's kind of like the motto for Student Services, which is my department, has been building community. And we've tried to keep that in mind with most of the facets of what we've done. Mm-hmm. And with building community in mind, it's been as openly accessible as we could possibly make it.
Yeah. Faculty and staff, they've become involved as well in this intramurals. Talk about that.
Crystal Laws, she is, she's a secretary for a few professors, and she contacted me saying that she saw one of my flyers that I posted on campus for football.
Yes.
and that she had some interest. So I sent her a packet for a rule manual for the league. We've got rule manuals and so on and so forth.
Sure.
Try to make it organized, and because some of them were worried about it being safe.
Yes.
Obviously, people get heated. Some people think they're, raging bulls and so on and so forth.
Right.
So once they felt like they were safe and that the league would be run in an organized manner,
Yes.
they signed up, and from there, I didn't realize how serious it would be taken still,
Right.
But
You didn't want a longest yard situation of
tried not-
guards versus prisoners.
no, yeah, that's what we were fighting.
Exactly.
And we got there. It's this is my first year working for the university, first time running intramurals.
Yeah.
And some people didn't want to read the rule books at first.
Yes. Yes.
But we got there. It ended up nice. We learned a lot. The students learned a lot.
Right.
What I feel like was most important is that it was a learning experience the whole way through. And I didn't hear any complaints by the end of it.
Sure.
Except by the team that lost, of course. They're going to
Well,
hate
of
on the
course.
refs.
Sore losers.
But yeah,
Yeah. It happens.
when you play for the title, that's what happens.
Exactly. Kelly Porter, Student Activities Coordinator at the University of Pikeville. And Kelly, we talk about the Intramurals program, and of course you've got the standards, but obviously you're looking to the future. What are your goals for that program?
Immediate goal is tradition. We've had intramurals for a while, but people don't necessarily know everything that we have to offer because there are no records of what was there before.
Sure.
I've been working with some higher ups in my department, so on and so forth, to kind of section off some space that we can have that. Have plaques that have the sports, have the champions, their captain, their team names, stuff like that, so that people can go somewhere and be like, hey, that's me.
Right.
I did that,
Yeah.
We were a part of something. And then eventually that'll build up and the program will have a name for itself.
Sure. New sports to be added in the future?
We're going kind of standard this year. Later on, eventually, probably try to get ultimate frisbee, stuff like that.
Sure.
We've had a few people ask for some fringe things. We've had people ask for wrestling, have people ask for soccer. But as interest grows, we'll do that. That's
Sure.
the thing. I can find the knowledge anywhere to officiate basically any sport.
Right.
The relations with the coaches are fantastic. I've had people say that they would offer me equipment. I don't know if you've spoken to Obey Quiles. He's the head volleyball coach. He basically said, mi casa, su casa.
Sure.
So they've been fantastic
Right.
in helping also. We can do anything. It's just I need interest
Sure.
because it's for them anyways.
Absolutely. Of course, student life at the University of Pikeville, a very important part of the college experience. And Kelly Porter, Student Activities Coordinator, our guest on this edition. And Kelly, if someone would like more information about the Intramurals program, about student activities
Yes, sir.
at UPike, how do they get in contact with you?
Through my email, it's davidporter@upike.edu, or if you want to speak to the department as a whole, you send your email to _upikehousing@upike.edu.
Very good.
Our office is in the admissions building. We're always there 9 to 5, always willing to talk about whatever you all need.
Sure.
Yeah, we're readily accessible. Also, we live in the halls, so if you're a student, you probably know us already.
Yeah.
And if you need anything, you probably know where our door is.
Very good. Student activities, it's a great part of the experience at the University of Pikeville. And Kelly, thanks for being with us today.
Glad to. Thanks for having me.
Congratulations on the new job. It sounds like one of the most fun jobs on campus.
I plan to be around for a while. Yeah, it's a good time.
There you go. Kelly Porter, Student Activities Coordinator at the University of Pikeville, our guest on this edition of Where the 99 Lead. It's a program brought to you by the University of Pikeville, the leading university of Central Appalachia.